Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be a slave to all. For even the Son of Man did not come to serve, but to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Now, two things in here that people loved then and now: glory and service. Glory and service. We have an insatiable appetite for it. Why do they pay Nick Saban $10 million a year to coach football at Alabama? Glory, right? National championships. People love it. I mean, I used to love it with Michigan, like 20-some years ago. I loved it. It's been kind of dry since then, but I love the taste of the glory. But that's why they pay him that money, because he brings all that glory, and their followers will give money to the school, and more people will want to attend there because we like to be associated with glory. Patrick Mahomes signed a contract with Kansas City for $500 million. $500 million. Like, what could you do with that? Why? Glory. He won a Super Bowl, and they hope that they will bring more Super Bowl. They would say, just like Alabama or anybody else, like, it's a good investment. If he wins the Super Bowl and we can, print the hats and T-shirts and have the parade, like, it is worth it because we love glory. Why do cities risk bankrupting themselves to host the Olympics? It happens almost every single time. They go into billions of dollars of debt to host the Olympics. Why? Glory. They want the glory of having that event in their town, even though it screws everything up and the people that live there hate it. Well, they want the glory. Glory is to be associated with winning and winning big. Everyone loves a winner, and even more, to somehow be tied to them, and even more, to be served like a winner. A huge part of the American dream is that we become gloriously wealthy so that someone else can serve our every need. I mean, we wouldn't admit that here in church. That's not part of our American dream. But the American dream that we see on TV and the culture is people want to be served. They want someone to take care of their stuff. We have a neighbor who was a house manager butler for a very famous designer in New York City. And so she would get this woman's bath ready and, lay her clothes out. And she would make sure that the chef was preparing her meals with just the right organic ingredients and da-da-da-da-da. And she would make sure that their private plane was lined up, and when they got there, that the car was there to pick them up, and the place that they were going had the food and the clothes and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, don't admit that you wouldn't love that. Come on. We just can't afford it. So we're like, oh yeah, I would never want to live that way. Well, let me just give you a personal example from my life. So a few years ago, our financial advisor gave us a credit card that we pay off every month if we use it. But the great part about it was we get to go to the Delta Lounge when we fly. Okay, so, all these years I've been walking by those places like, what's in that Admiral's Club? What are they doing in there? I mean, it's got to be some good stuff, but I'll never be there. So the day comes when we're flying and we've got our card. And we go through Detroit, the security, and it's all kind of the big 2-level thing. And I'm like, where is that Delta Lounge? Oh, there it is. And it's got the glass doors open. I go in, kind of like, I think it's just going to work. And hand him my card. Yes, Mr. Versalino, your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life, the Delta Book of Life. You get to go up. And so you get on the escalator, get up there, and you're like, what is going on up here? Like, all this great seating and buffets and drinks and clean bathrooms and showers and phone chargers in every seat. I'm like, this is like a parallel universe up here. Who knew this was happening? I was so overwhelming for me. I said, I'm getting rid of it. No, I didn't do that. I sent a text to our kids and said, next year I'm just going to go on vacation in the Delta Lounge. I'm just going to stay there for the week. I don't need to go anywhere. Everything is here. And then just to really ice it off, and this is going to wreck it for you, because after you get your food or your drinks or whatever, you can go and sit, and they have these huge glass things overlooking the little people, the proletariat walking by. So you can sit there with your, brownies and Starbucks and like, where's it going down there? Good luck in that line. You're 25th in line for an $8 coffee. Mine was free. I'm up here. Or so. It's just a little slice of heaven. I'm just telling you that because we all love service, right? And James and John, they're no different. They want the seats of honor when Jesus comes into his glory and all that comes with it. So they want to be seen and they want the perks that come with it. Now, for a first century Jew, they were looking for, and it will come one day, the actual physical kingdom. They thought Jesus was going to be the king very shortly. Not like, in 2,000 years or whatever, like any day now, he's going to be the king. He's going to be the physical king. He's going to defeat the enemies of God. He's going to bring peace and prosperity for his people. Boom, this is going to be great. And we want to be right there with him, left and right guy. This would be like the equipment managers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers saying, hey, Tom, when we win the Super Bowl, I want to be here and here with you up on the podium. Not the coach of the other players, but Jim, Bob, and Leroy, these are my guys right here, and they're in glory, and give them all the perks that I get. Like that's what that would be like, but that's what they're asking. Incidentally, I think this is one of the reasons why the Bible is so believable, because there's all these embarrassing things in there. I mean, if you were going to make it up, you wouldn't put stuff like that in there. You wouldn't. So Jesus says, you don't know what you're asking. He reminds them, like, I'm going to Jerusalem to suffer and die. And they're just like, no, it's not going to happen. Like, you're going to be the king. Like, they're thinking, like, he's deluded. Like, you have this power and you do all this great stuff. You are going to be the king. And dying, like, they just could not get their heads around what that was going to happen, even though he kept telling them that. And so then he goes into this striking, countercultural, upside-down kingdom view of glory and service. And I'm going to go back to our text, because this is the heart of it. You know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be a slave to all. For the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. That is the truth. Not so with you. Not so with you. Our journey, our purpose, our mission is to apprentice under Jesus, and that leads to a life of service. Say yes to the S. Now, many of us here today are concerned, rightly so, with the diminishing influence of Christianity in our country. That we're like losing our country, becoming a godless country, and we want to like make a stand and, turn this thing around, right? But how we do that is super important. And Jesus didn't come with force. He didn't come and he didn't raise up an army and he didn't, how did he come? Serving, sacrificing, extending mercy. So when we want to fight, we got to fight the way that Jesus fought, with love, mercy, service. So a few things about Jesus. Jesus was radically intimate and obedient to the Father. I can only do what I see my Father doing. My Father's always at work, and I can only do what I see him doing. So that's something we can take away, right? Intimacy with the Lord. Jesus was radically inclusive. Sinners, lepers, Samaritan, women, tax collectors, prostitutes, all of the undesirables were desirable to him. My son Joe was here a few weeks ago, and he asked the question, would people be surprised at who we hung out with? Would people be surprised at who we hung out with? That's kind of a haunting question, I think. Jesus was radical as a servant savior. People were shocked at the servant king who lifts up the poor and the suffering and washes the feet of his followers. Like, that's just not the way it worked then. It's not the way it worked now. When you're the king, someone else washes your feet, gets your stuff, takes care of you, right? The top person doesn't do that. And people are like, this guy doesn't make any sense. But what he did is what we are to do. He lived and died for our sake. And so a question would be, would people be surprised at our service? would people be surprised at our service? Say yes to the yes. We win by following Jesus, loving the lost, and sacrificially serving. Now, I'm pointing out a difference between sacrificially serving and fun serving. We all, well, not all of us, but most of us have a kind of serving that we like. We like the people that we're serving with. We're especially excited about the cause. And so it's kind of energizing and, like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And that's fine. It's good to have that. But that shouldn't be a boundary or parameter for all of our service. Because service can be inconvenient. Pastor Don has used this phrase for 25 years, the ministry of inconvenience. Sometimes as the chief recruiter in the church, I find kind of like a pressure. I'm not saying you put this on me, but I feel a pressure to make service things like fun and exciting. Like, yeah, you want to do this and come to the fair. You're going to make a new friend and you're going to get a tan. It's going to be great. It might be great. I mean, I hope you make a new friend. I hope it's a busy night and you're like, wow, we really did something. Like, yeah, that's what I want. But you know what? It might just be boring as heck. You might get there on a slow night and stand there by the trailer and we'll just well, I guess it's not going to be busy tonight. You can go home and you might think well, geez, I worked all day and I came here just to stand here with a stupid plastic bat and go home. How lame is that? Well, it's just part of it. It's just part of a week. It might rain. We had a picture last week of Lori standing in the booth of, it's raining, and other people who work it's just raining. I'm just standing here for that 1 car an hour that comes through in the rain. That's part of it. That's part of it. That's the fair, but there's lots of other areas in our church and culture which are just not fun and exciting, but they're necessary and important. So when you're making your decision about serving at the fair or in the church or in the community, think about important and necessary and meaningful. Those are the words. And if you get some fun with it, that's great. I'm not against fun. I like fun. I like the Delta Lounge. But the most important thing is meaning, purpose, and those kind of things. So there's a difference between living as a servant and picking and choosing opportunities that we really like. It's just a whole different mindset of people that are, I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve in whatever setting I'm in. If I'm at a church event and they're cleaning up, then I'm going to help clean up. If wherever you're at, there are people, and you know them, many of you are, they're just servant-minded. And then there are other people that are like, well, if it works out, and if it sounds kind of fun, and then I'll come and do it. But if not, well, I'm busy. Everybody's busy. Everybody is busy. So our call is to live like him and serve. All right, I'm going to call the band up for my closing illustration, and you all know what that means. Nothing. Closing. So a few weeks ago, my wife and I, along with some of our neighbors, we sponsored a block party for our neighborhood. We won a silent auction for a band that our neighbor was in, and we said, well, let's just do it on our block. It'll be so fun. And it was so fun. I mean, people are like, we're out in the pub. I mean, sure, a lot of this is from COVID. We're happy, there's a person over there. That's awesome. But they're just having fun, and we're eating brats, and it was a great time. But here's my point in all that. The band loved playing for an audience. You guys like to play for people, right? I mean, you worship, you like to see a response.
Yes, sir.
Yes, she does. She likes a response. And, most of the people were just in their chairs, tapping their toes, kind of thing. And I'm not picking on non-dancers. Okay, I'm not picking on that. But the people that really energized the band were the dancers that were up there getting into it. And I feel like Jesus is saying, join the dance. Don't just tap your toe yeah, it's a good thing. Someone should do that. That's a good thing. Someone should do that. You're that person. Join the dance and serve. So my closing, second closing, is how do I say yes to the S? Serve at the fair. I don't know how many times I can say that. Serve at the fair. Serve in the church, serve in the band, in the loft, hospitality. I was going to make a form so you could sign up for something, but no one does. No one signs up the form. Last time I did that, the only forms I got back were from people that were already doing something. They said they would still do it. Like, yes, I will still do this. I'm like, forget it. We want new people. So there's nothing that's stopping you from talking to me or Pastor Dan or Pastor Mike and say, you know what, I need to serve. I need to do something. We would love that. So where am I at here? Threw my paper away. Serving your neighbors, practicing hospitality. That's a good one. Serving in the community. There's the open door. There's the caregiving network. There's just lots of ways you can make a difference in the world, or in the community. And serving in the world, we have mission trips coming up, supporting the Ahikam home. Lots of ways to do that. So, you're not going to do all these things, but just pick something. Pick something and get started. All right, now for my third and final closing, had a picture of Jan. So Jan, as I mentioned at the beginning, she died last year. And Jan, she did not have a lot of the opportunities and advantages that many of us do. She had some real struggles. But she was a servant. She cleaned the church for 20-some years, and she loved the fair. She bought her own equipment. Her own vest, her own hat, her own shoes, her own bat. She put like a hello on it or something like that. And she would start talking about the fair in March. I'm like, Jan, I'm trying not to think about that until the end of July. Like, stop. Hey, Dave, it's only 2 more months until we start parking there. I'm like, no. But night after night after night after night, she was there and she had her spot, and no one was going to move her from that spot. Were they, Joanne? This is her spot. And so I say to you, be like Jan, be like Jesus, and serve. All right, we're going to sing something? All right, stand up.
We're going to invite you to the dance.
To the dance, there we go.
Goodness knows no bounds. Your goodness never stops. Your mercy follows me. Your kindness fills my life. Your love amazes me. And I'll sing because you are good, and I'll dance because you are good, and I'll shout because you are good. You are good to me. Nothing and no one comes anywhere close to you. The earth and oceans deep only reflect this truth. And in my darkest night, you shine as bright as day. Your love amazes me. And I'll sing because you are good, and I'll dance because you are good, and I'll shout because you are good. You are good to me. And I'll sing because you are good, and I'll dance because you are good, and I'll shout because you are good. You are good to me. I'll dance because you are good. because you are good. You are good to me. I'll sing because you are good, and I'll dance because you are good, and I'll shout because you are good. You are good to me.
Jesus, you are good, and you came to serve, and we want to be good followers of you, and so give us hearts and commitment, conviction to serve. Bless your people today. Fill them with joy and peace and your presence. And we ask it all in your name. Amen. You are dismissed.